So what is being expressed is the unfolding of the never ever in total stillness, the collection of impressive instants that never occurs, the history that has never ever happened, the mystery of continuity that never really happens. In the never ever forever, the concept of time is overlaid over timelessness. So time never happens. So there was no I for it to happen to. It never happens. And there was no others. Like an alternate version of Wizard of Oz, you know, when Dorothy wakes up saying that you were there, you were there, you were there. But also saying, but you're still not here. You're still not here. You're still not here. There was never ever anyone in the dream. Since there's never anyone in the dream, a dream within the dream, the singular dream of never, where everything that seems real is never real, where the words never really meant anything because they're just words of the never. So never will never be understood. So the Neverland will never be located. So in this spontaneous directness, this intimacy, this radical unhappening happening where never happens, this is what was never longed for, or what is forever longed for, which is the same. What is longed for is never having problems, never having conflicts, never having any situations that's not desirable, never wanting any kind of loss. But this is it. So the Neverland is this. The Foreverland is this. Where everything happens, but nothing ever happens. And it's not about figuring it out. It's not about maintaining it, because this never happening, some people will call it paradise, heaven, home. This is home. This is forever. But it can never be figured out. It can never be known. It can never be attained. That's the good news. That's the fun stuff. Because if nothing ever matters, there's a so whatness. There is this, wow, is this really it? There's nothing to figure out. Nothing ever happens. This is like a dream. There's really no one here. Oh, wow. There's no history. There's no memory. There are no thoughts. Because something that feels real never really happened. Like jolting out from a dream, kind of like, oh, none of it mattered. Not the attainment, not the loss, not the absence, not the fullness, because everything is as if it never happened. But it feels awfully real. So in this Neverland, there are never others. That's another thing. So once it's seen that there never was an I or a me or separation, it's just this emptiness that can never be figured out. So the absence of the I, the absence of separation, and this is completely unbelievable, that what it sees as others was not really there. It's not there. Like in some sci-fi movies, you can jump into someone's thoughts or jump into someone's dreams. And then basically kind of like, you can, say that there are others because I can jump into their dreams, jump into their thoughts, but that's sci-fi fiction. That's not real. No one can ever go to someone's thoughts or inside their head because there's no others. No one can break into someone's dreams because there's no other dreamers. No one can read someone's thoughts because there are no thoughts. There's this idea, there's this fantasy, there's this delusion that there are others. And the maintenance of others is so... That's what causes the stress. So when it's seen as just this moving stillness, this dynamic stillness appearing as your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, your friends, enemies, there's no such thing. So there never was a relationship. When there's never been a relationship, there's just this unconditional love. Unknowable unconditional love appearing as others, appearing as unconditional love, loving itself, because it only sees unconditional love and not others. It sees wholeness, it sees completeness, it sees that there was never ever a separation. But seemingly there's this appearances, keeping up appearances of others, maintaining appearances for others, and there were never any others. So what? So there's this boundless, unconditional freedom that appears in everything. That everything is also never everything. It's just singularity, unicity, appearing as this appearances of separation, appearances of thoughts, appearances of feelings, appearances of sensation, taste, smell, sound. The whole thing has never happened. The whole dream is never. It's nothing. It's like jolting up from a dream and saying, what? Oh, nothing happened. So there's this appearance of something absolutely real. An appearance of others that's absolutely real, but absolute is just an illusion again. It's just a dream. So there's no destination. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck in Neverland. But the good news is there's no you stuck in Neverland. That's the fun stuff. The fun stuff is just having this, wow, is this really happening? Like waking up from a dream and going, wow, that was such a trip. But also seeing that what's happening is a dream within a dream within a dream. So no one really wakes up. It's just a continuous dream appearing as yesterday's dream, today's dream, this dream, others' dreams. But the dream is not separate. So everything that appears in a dream is a dream. So welcome to Neverland, where nothing ever happens. If you have any question, please go ahead. Hello.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Kathy.
I just wanted to say what a great weekend, and I got the recordings, and I didn't really get a chance to watch it. It just peeked a little bit here and there. It's just beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness, such what was the word I was thinking of? Like artistry or something. It was just, And then you're gonna laugh. And then I said, damn, he missed his he's in the wrong field again. Anyway, yeah, no, I know you're not. Okay, thanks, Emerson. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a
Bye-bye.
fun weekend, wasn't it? It was fun.
Yeah, we had fun. Yeah.
Yeah. A whole bunch of nothing.
It was only afterwards. Was not fun for me. But anyway. Yeah, because me's here anyway. So okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kane goes, oh, I'm going to open up the chat. Sorry about that.
Shit, now I got lost again.
Do you still get scared watching horror movies? There's no one here that gets scared, but scaring, scared happens. I jump and scream like a lady, from church from scary movies. I love it though. I love it. But there's no more nightmares, so to speak. I think you asked me before, did you have the lights on? I slept really soundly. I used to be a scaredy cat. So the fear of the unknown, or the fear of supernatural ghosts, or that movie Smile is the curse or anything kind of like it's just that neurotic tendency to be scared of something that it just spins and spins and spins. So that's seemingly gone. Although they're still jumping off a chair when there's a jump scare and screaming at the top of the lungs. Question.
You ever just
no
I was
worries.
just curious if when you jump scare, if you just hear the screaming, like who's screaming? Oh God, it's coming out of here.
My brothers and my friends used to take me to the movies just to laugh at me when I jump out of my seat.
That sounds like so much fun.
They can see that I'm totally into it. You know what I'm saying? So
completely absorbed.
I'm completely absorbed. So when all those jump scares are basically meant for me. Question here, Emerson, you seem to be happy all the time. What's your secret? There's no one here. That's the secret. There's no one maintaining anything anymore. There's also sadness that happens. I can watch a whole bunch of TikTok videos of, someone doing good for others, or cats or dogs reuniting. No, dogs reuniting with their owners. So it's just, what is seen here is just this happiness, because there's this love for doing this. There's this passion for talking about nothing nonstop. And nothing is ever taken seriously anymore, because everything that is happening never really happened. And that's not knowing, it's just what is.
But I did see a cat. It traveled 300 miles to get home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they do it too. Yeah.
Yes.
They attacked. Yes. Okay, bye.
Hey Emerson, it's Jack.
Oh, hey Jack.
I just wanted to share something that had happened with a apparent homeless man downtown. There's a lot of characters at Young and Dundas, and there was one yesterday actually that he was yelling at the top of his lungs saying, I have to hear my voice every day, every morning. This is crazy.
Oh, wow.
And I feel the same way.
Yeah. Yes. So even the outer or the inner voice are all illusory. So there's really nothing being said here. What's being expressed here is that all these words, all of this talk really means nothing, because these words are really never meant to say anything. Because what's being longed for appears in everything. So trying to capture words, outer, inner, is just another dream. I used your example, Jack, when we were talking in the car, when you jolt out of bed. That's the inspiration. Like, remember that? We were talking in the car, Jack?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Jumping out of the bed and basically, you expressed it better than I did. So everything is like a jolt of nothingness. There's a kind of like, oh, what? Wow. Nothing is really going on here. It's just a play. If there are no others, are your thoughts the equivalent of thoughts? Yes, these words that are coming out are really just silent. There's really no difference from inner or outer words. Both words are meaningless. Both words don't mean anything. Both words are silent. So it's really nothing. So this might sound like something that is being said, but if you really look at it, even if you say the word is just a collection of 4 letters, phonetics, and it's just really silence appearing as words. So words of others and other words. So what's being shared here is just this boundless energy, that there's nothing that needs to be figured out. Cheers, Erie and Rigo. It's like, for example, everything that happened in your nighttime dream, there is a feeling, there are words, there are others, there are thoughts, there is this felt sense of realness. It's never ever questioned. Or even when it's questioned, it appears in the dream. So when there is an apparent kind of like, jolting out and like, what happened? So all of those words, all of those thoughts, all of those ideas, everything that happened in that dream vanishes as if it never happened. So that's what's being expressed here. This is like that. It's like funny. I think I was talking to someone before about what are really memories when there are nothing. So there's this continuity that's maintained by the me, the I. I went to school last year, so that's maintained. I have a conflict with someone. I have problems. So everything that comes after the I is a continuous, seemingly has a historical, kind of like a root, a source. And then, but since there's no root or source or cause, this is the causeless. This is the uncaused appearing as words. And if we just take all the words out, this is just really emptiness speaking. There's no one here. There's also emptiness hearing over there. And what's hearing is this empty words. So there's just this boundless energy that these empty words could resonate, that there's really nothing. There's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to know. There's nothing happening. There are no others. In any of these fluctuations, you know what I'm saying, of, oh, what did I do yesterday? Oh, what am I going to do today? It's just this seeming static in silence. It's like you're really conversing with yourself and there's no self. So it goes boom, boom, right? When you're talking to others, it's like you're really talking to emptiness and there's no one in emptiness. Shadi. Oh, hi, Shadi.
Hi.
The Toronto crew is here today. Huh?
I'm happy to be able to make it finally.
Oh, It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. You just mentioned something about, I don't know, when you were in school, like if you're in school back in the day, this and that. And then what happens if you see like patterns show up in the now, but then it throws you into the memory of something that happened? You see it playing out again.
So that's the trick, right? So the dream maintains the dream of reality, of separation. So it appears as patterns, it appears as coincidences, appears as something meaningful, but all the patterns, synchronicities are just like all superstitions that you believe. So when belief is seen as also empty, everything that it's believed, everything that is thinking that that's my conditioning is just another story. So in the story, there's a pattern of this character doing this, but it's still a story. It's still a dream. Again, in the dream, it feels absolutely real that it could be a pattern of whatever, but when it's seen that there is no one having a pattern, everything is just pattern, and all patterns are empty patterns.
So like say there's a quality of yourself that you don't really like that repeated in the past, but you see it keep on repeating, and then.
But that's just a thought about yourself, right? A quality about yourself that seemingly seems to get repeated. Like, for example, there is this, for example, if someone drinks coffee too much, that kind of thing, right? You're like, oh, there's something. So there's this seeing, you know what I'm saying? That there is this something wrong with it. And in the story, when there's something wrong, it usually corrects itself. Maybe less drinking coffee or whatever, so it's not jittery all the time. But the narrative that happens, the narrative that happens with this kind of like, oh, it's because of my childhood. I need to be awake in the morning, and that's why I drink a lot of coffee. That kind of thing. But that's just a story. So in the directness of this, drinking coffee is happening, and thoughts about problems about drinking coffee is happening at the same time. So there's this realistic feel to it because it is backed by a history. But nothing really happened in the past as well. Everything is just happening as this. So as this, in this, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing outside of this. There's this drinking coffee, and there's seemingly a problem like, oh, maybe I drink coffee too much. But there's no after that.
Okay, I get it. So whatever's happening now, it's happening now. So
It's just
don't
this.
link it to something that.
Yeah, well, there's no one choosing to link it or not. If linking happens, it's just seen as empty words again, right? Oh, wow. That's why it's kind of like what I was saying in the directness of this. You're kind of like saying everything is just like a bubble. It appears and pops. Everything is like, wow, right? So everything that I just said is made up. It's like bubbles. It means nothing.
And when if you have inner chatter or you're speaking to somebody, it's as if you're speaking to no one, or you're speaking to
right,
it sounds like you're speaking to, like I'm speaking to you as if I'm speaking to myself right now.
Yes.
And I don't exist.
So there is only one, and that one is actually invisible, not here as well. So there's this perceiver. You can only perceive you and others. So this is a perception right now, right? This perception is you're thinking that this is this Emerson, you know what I'm saying? All just ideas. When you go to sleep at night, that perception disappears and it's nothing. And then you wake up again and you don't think about, this speaker or whatever. Then you can like, oh, there's, this Emerson speaker is speaking about nothing again, about bubbles. And, and you come on and it's just this. So everything that I've said is just appearing as this. So there's really no Emerson. There's really no words. It's just this. And this, we seem to attach words. The moment that we attach a word to it, it's almost like an obscuring that it's really nothing because it turns into something. The moment that you say, Emerson or Shadi, there's a collection of stories. But there are really no collection of stories because they're really empty words. They're really nothing. Like a nighttime dream, everything just appears and pops. And in that bubble, it could appear completely real. There could be crying, there could be jumping up and down for joy, could be dancing, and then pop, gone. It's almost like the same thing on your day-to-day, for example. You don't really remember all of it. You don't even probably remember this morning.
Yeah.
It's just fragments of these bubbles. You know what I'm saying? It's just bubbles appearing. What did I do this morning? Oh yeah, I ate breakfast. Pop. Gone. What am I going to do later? Oh yeah, I'm going to grocery shop. Pop. And then in between that, you're like, oh, maybe I should, and in between that, there's other story bubbles too. For example, thinking about grocery, I'm like, oh, maybe I should eat more healthy. I should go vegan and everything. But those are just another bubbles that's coming up, and it pops. And then all of a sudden, there's also this reality that seems to appear, like solidity, gravity, history, you and me. And then all of a sudden, when you're doing something that you love, like dancing, everything disappears again. What's solidity? What's others? What's gravity? It doesn't matter, because it's a dream. The dream of real is never real. So of course, the dream is going to feel absolutely like real, like others' perception and everything, but it never ever is happening. So there's just this kind of like, oh, well, if nothing is real, then my seeking is also not real. There's nothing really lost. If you lost something in a dream, is it real? No. If you're longing for something in a dream, is it real? No. There might be attainment, for example, if you want, a box of cinnamon rolls, if there's a desire, but none of that, it all disappears. So there's this impressive instance, it's all that there is. It's just this instance. But there's this hallucination or a spell or a delusion that there are other instances. Since we're talking about non-separation, there's never been any other instance other than this. This instance is all that there is.
So like so there's nobody, but when you like somebody passes away, in that moment, it feels so real because
of course, that's the bubble of grieving or sadness, right? And when you go to sleep at night, that grieving collapses. And then you wake up in the morning again, you're like, oh, I miss that person. The bubble appears again and it collapses again. I kind of like got freaked out one time when I did not call my parents for a couple of days, or maybe 3 or 4 days. And I was like, oh, I don't have parents. I hope they're not watching this or they won't watch this. So in this bubble, nothing happens. There's bubble of reality, this bubble of you and me, it pops, pop, as if it never happened. So when there's this seriousness that is kind of like when there's a relax, you're kind of like, oh my goodness, everything that I'm holding on to is not real. All my problems are meaningless. There's nothing wrong with me because I'm not even here. Then everything pops. There's all of a sudden an enjoyment of this because it's not caught up in other imaginary this. For example,
even though in the back of your mind, like your brothers or your families are somewhere else, like they rise in the moment. It's just, you don't see that as like my parents or my siblings or anything. They're just a collection of stories as well, right? It doesn't mean that I'm indifferent or, I love my brothers and I love my parents, right? But this is coming in this bubble right now. So this bubble feels completely real, but this bubble pops all the time. So that sense of indifference would eventually come too after a while, right? Well, you know what? There's this, when there's no longer an attachment or there's, for example, if
if my brothers are fighting or or gossiping each other. I have 3 brothers, and we hang out a lot, right? So for example, last night we were like, talking about this other brother, and there's indifference, right? There's just indifference. It just sees everything as unconditional love. So it loves everything. It even loves when it doesn't love everything. It's unconditional.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bubbles like on a comic strip. Yes. Jenny goes, I need reminders around my husband. Wow, pop. Jack goes, reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Einstein, even he and his story of light is not real. An illusion in the now, only, and now is not here, gone before it started. Yes, thank you, Jack. I'm just going to blow my nose just a second, okay? Apparently everyone's getting sick around again. Reality is just another word. When it's seen that everything is just a word with no etymology, because all etymologies are just stories, they're fascinating stories. When it's seen that every word that comes out is just empty words, nothing is taken seriously ever again. There's just this, wow. It's like getting completely engaged sometimes in a movie, still kind of like, jumping with the scary parts, but they're empty scares. They're empty fears, empty reactions, because it's reacting to nothing. Although that nothing feels absolutely real with the soundtrack and the boom, but it's still empty. It's meaningless. It doesn't have a purpose. So the story of a reality will maintain its reality. So a story maintaining story, because it will say, well, how about this? I was born in 1971. How about this? I have a birth certificate. How about this? I was I have. But again, all of this is just appearing in this. You can't go back to 1971 and have proof that you were born. It's just this. There might be videos that you were born, but it's only appearing in this. So there's nothing outside this. Ilio goes, if this is totally freedom, why not unconditional hate nor always love? Hate and love are just words. You can also say unconditional hate, but there seems to be a meaning in words, but those meanings are empty. Even true or false are just words. So everything is just a word. The reason that there's a resonance with this communication is because it goes beyond the words of what's being said. There's this resonance, that's kind of like a remembrance of the emptiness that always is. So unconditional freedom is this anarchy. This is anarchy. If you look outside, that's anarchy. There's an idea of order, but that idea of order is also anarchy. Everything being meaningless, who or what inspires words and action? This unknowable this. There's this passion coming out to express this, that this can never be known. So actions, like for example, going to, setting up this camera, making a coffee, and then talking, is just this happening as actions or words without any without any prior. So there's this illusion of, I'm inspired by, but that's just another thought. It's just another bubble. It's meaningless. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi. I almost have the same background as you, but I
You're more creative with your background.
I spent the whole day just putting up this wall, kind of like, I'm just joking. How are you?
I'm great. I know you have a cold. I hope you feel better.
Oh, yeah. It's okay.
So if I can just, this
yeah.
is a singularity.
This is the singularity.
It's a bubble.
Well, that's just another idea. It's not really a bubble. It's
But it's
boundless.
already popped. It's already popped.
It pops and it doesn't pop at the same time. Every movement is just an illusion. Every movement is just a word for stillness. So it's all stillness appearing as popping or not popping. Stillness appearing as actions and nodding, but that's stillness. But since there is no, it's in everything. So everything is stillness. But it appears as movement and you can't even imagine it. So this is like the formless appearing as form, as a formed idea, as a formed concept, as a form, a physical form. But all of this is just formlessness. This is the boundless appearing as boundaries.
As you were talking about the bubbles that formed.
Yeah.
And I see areas here.
Yes.
She's done some wonderful recent YouTube clips.
I love her videos.
But one of them dealt with her issues around taking a plane.
Yes.
all the problems that came. And to me, listening to you, the way she interacted with that was as these bubbles kind of forming and so forth.
Yeah.
So I just thought I would mention that. It's well worthwhile looking at some of her clips, so I appreciate them.
Yeah. Thank you, Erie. They're beautiful clips. They're really clear.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for putting these on, Emerson.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
Sure.
I saw Petra and she's raised her hand. Hi, Petra.
Hi, Emerson.
How are you? It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. I'm better.
Oh, good.
I really love the three blind mice. Oh, the story. Wow. I'm really looking forward to more of these stories.
Yeah, there's just this seemingly there's this beautiful kind of like expressions of nothing in story form. Kind of like this one is a part of a story I was talking about, Neverland. This is the never ever land. And because this is a fantasy, so why not put it into a fantasy? It increased to I have 30 different stories now, kid stories. So it just keeps on growing. So I had 20 and I just went on a writing spree again, and it's just beautiful. It's really silly and really kind of like a
nice and simple. So
nice and simple. Yeah.
I also like regular kids books and there's something in it. So it's not so
it's not so serious, isn't it? Right? And which is what's being expressed here is the absence of seriousness, because everything just pops. Everything is seemingly happening. So there's just this bewilderment. I'm like, oh wow, right? There was this, I had a neighbor that was, and this is a story, was screaming outside, and basically arguing. The house that the neighbor has is occupied by her daughter. So she's screaming at his daughter. And then my brother said, there's a whole history of that. So there's no more seriousness. It's like, I don't need to find out or whatever. It's just what is. just what is, right? So there's no more kind of like interest in entanglements and everything. It's just what is. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it felt really good. I watched the video this afternoon, and that Sunday I thought, wow, I think I'm back.
Oh, good. Good. We missed you in the weekend. You know, we did see you pop in for a bit, and I'm glad. See, nothing is permanent, right? So there's this sea of sadness sometimes that seems to be drowning you, but really it's just emptiness appearing as sadness, appearing as whatever seems to appear. And everything that seems to appear pops or changes because it's not real.
Yeah.
Nothing is real.
I visited my sister and got a hug. This was good.
Oh, if you were near, I would have sent you Ella Bella to cheer you up. Because I don't know what magic these puppies have, right? You know, they seem to they seem to just seemingly, you know, saying it's just like this puppy energy. It's like everything is a wow, poop, peep, you know, it's just this wonder, this puppy-like wonder of what is happening, this mischief, which is also innocence. And then the little, you know, the little cries, the little barking at nothing. It's so fascinating, you know, to see what is as what is, to see emptiness as emptiness, and this wowness with everything.
I'm also a dog sitting again this weekend. Yeah.
Perfect.
He's next door.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's good. Somehow I'm more grounded with the dog.
Yeah, if you want to see what is, it's just a dog. If you want to see emptiness in action, that's a dog.
Yeah. Thank you.
So beautiful.
Good to talk to you.
Casey goes, we love you, Petra. It's true. Everyone loves you.
Love you. Love you even more.
Oh.
What? I'm not familiar with this. Yeah. Yeah, it was really weird to miss the weekend somehow. I can't believe I don't join the weekend. Is it possible?
He didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Petra.
Yeah, thank you.
When I'm alone watching Non-Duality, there's no one here. Then when I go back in the other room with my family, all the stories come back. I can't even speak without acting. Yes. So there's this appearance of everything going on, you know, it's like an RPG, a role-playing game. When you go to a character, it has a story. It will say that if you go to the king, he will give you the key. And the key will open the door, but you have to go through challenges. I have some bow and arrows for you to kill the monster. So you go take the, but you have to look for the other merchant. So you get the bow and arrow, on the way to see the monster, to see the king and kill the monster. And you encounter another RPG that will say that the bow and arrow is not enough. You will need to get a cannon to be able to defeat the monster, the dragon. So the character goes to another character, goes, where can I find a cannon? The cannon is not enough. You will need a missile or something, I don't know, to kill the dragon. So you keep on going. So there's this story. And if you talk to that character, I'm saying the character is a full-blown character, but it's really empty. Oh, look at the doggy. Oh, look at those eyes. Kim, I love walking in the woods with the dog. Likewise, I can walk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Casey.
Hey.
Hey. Do you remember Casey Kasem, American Top 40? Is that where your name was from?
People always ask me that. Yeah. Yeah. In the story.
In the story.
I'm thinking maybe I'll change my name to like Destructo or like Terminator X32 or something. Something a little cooler than Casey Kasem and the Sunshine Band or whatever the hell. Oh man. Yeah, we had a toy poodle growing up. And Jenny, your dog, your toy poodle, is it maybe not a toy poodle, but a poodle? Yeah, poodle. He would always come up and just lick us like right on the lips. And anyone who came in the house came up and lick him. Like just we had to like hold him back, and it would try to like lick everybody's lips and stuff. No, but going back to what you were saying, with the RPG, it's kind of like an RPG.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is an RPG character that talks about nothing. There's an RPG character named Casey over there that talks about nothing as well. So it's all, the game is meaningless, but the game is reality. So it plays in reality, and this really well-constructed reality with gravity, with the felt sense of realness, with this air, with the, everything seems to be separate, but it's actually just a screen. It's like watching, a curved screen of, I don't know if you play video games. You do. I know you do. And it's just, but there's no one playing it. It's just playing by itself. I think Jim Newman does this best when he said that it's like going to a video game, going to an arcade, right? You go to an arcade and then you go to a machine, and there's this kind of like, you get really, really involved in the playing and everything like that. And then someone tells you, from the, someone will say that, well, you know what? That's a demo program. You have to put in a coin to play the game. And then you think that you're doing everything, but there's no one doing anything. So it's just this RPG with 8 billion RPG characters. And then there's only one perceiver. So it comes from this singular perceiver, but that singularity, that singular perceiver is also not there. So it's a plot twist after a plot twist. There's only one. The next plot twist, but there's actually none.
Yeah, that plot twist. Yeah.
It's a plot twist on top of a plot twist.
Yeah, usually
it's just a game, but it's not a game. There's nothing. It's an illusion of reality. There's no reality.
It's like a game on like demo mode or something in the arcade.
It is. Yeah. That's what
you're like. You're like, hey, bro, come look at my high score I just got. I've been working so hard at this, and he's like, dude, you got to put a quarter in. That's just the demo.
Yeah, that's a previous player. That's the record holder of the, of that.
In fact, it always plays the demo. Yeah, you can't actually play this game. It
always plays the demo, and the one that's playing the game is also in the demo. So there's no outside or inside. So the whole, see what I mean? It's a plot twist after a plot twist.
It's an arcade simulator.
It's an arcade simulator.
Well,
well done. Well done, Emptiness. Well played, Emptiness.
Well played. Well played.
The long con that there is no time.
Yeah. I don't know how to ask this because it's not like there's anything to do, but like, I don't know. It just feels like I'm living in two different worlds, like two different video games, two different simulations.
Yeah. See, that's
why not add another one? Let's make it
on top of the illusion. See, let's clear it up, right? So there's this illusion, and then there's a different reality. The plot twist is that there's no two, there's just one. And the further plot twist that there's no one, it's really none. And it's obvious. It's obvious, right? Because when there's no thinking happening, there's just this silence. For example, with just this silence, and then in the immediacy of this silence, everything drowns. Because what seems to appear is just another illusion that something is happening, but nothing is happening. There's something, but that something is actually nothing. And it's not, and to go further with the plot twist, there's not even nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Because the moment that it's imagined, it becomes something. So trying to imagine something, imagine nothing becomes something. So it's not even that. So it's an intimate, it's an infinite plot twist, right? It's like a reveal after the reveal, right? For example, like the Scooby-Doo movies at the end, right? You know, when they take out the mask, oh my goodness, it was really nothing. And then Scooby-Doo takes another mask. Well, it's not even nothing.
Yeah. I just watched a SpongeBob like that.
Yeah. I love those.
Yeah, they're funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes my wife or son will, you know, the continual stream of, hey dad, get me a drink or get me a blah blah, and I'll just like be so sick of it, I'll just ignore it eventually. Apparently, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, God, do I have to do that? No one's actually saying anything over there. It's just,
well, it's
but I don't do anything. So
it's
you know,
the RPG. You know what I'm saying? Is going to do whatever. So there's really no one controlling the RPG, the role playing character, right? It will play the role. So when it's seen that it's just an illusory role playing game character, the RPG is an illusion. People usually get scared. Will the RPG become a mass murderer, or will it kill or rob banks? You know, not care about anyone? No, because it's a character. The character is set. So if the character is a gardener, it will be a gardener.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough because sometimes, like, I don't know if you ever played any RPGs, any good ones, good stories. At the end, you know, it's just like sad because you kind of like grow close to all the characters, you know, the stories, and you fall in love with different things
until a new updated version comes up and you're excited again.
Until the next, and that's how it is. It's always the next Final Fantasy or whatever.
Like Doom, you know, saying, you know, what version of Doom do we have right now?
Doom 6. Yeah, I'm not even sure.
How many Final Fantasy are out there now?
A lot. And it's funny because the game's called Final Fantasy, but then there's another Final Fantasy. I thought this was the Final Fantasy.
That's what I mean. The plot twist just keeps on going. There's no final, right? It just keeps its plot twist. There's another Final Fantasy. Plot twist. There's another Final Fantasy. The Final Fantasy, Volume 6.
Remake. Oh God, I love you, man. Appreciate it.
Or what are these movies, the car movies that, you know, like, what are going to, you know, the Fast and Furious, just
Fast and Furious. Even faster and more furious this time. This time he gets the girl. Yeah, so yeah. It's just like layers. It's layers. What is it? Just me going underground, you know, maybe trying to find
the story just recycles stories over and over and over again, right? It's to maintain reality. A perfect example is the belief system is just a story, but it's maintained by an outer in religion, and in spirituality and inward, and in non-duality, you know, apply non-duality anyway, then it becomes consciousness, awareness. So it just, the belief just gets recycled over and over again. So this is the questioner gets obliterated because there's no questions. So when there's a question that's being maintained, you know what I'm saying, or this and that, a separation, subject, object, the illusion just keeps on playing. So when you see that kind of like, you know, the arcade kind of like analogy there, when you see that it's just playing by itself, that there's nothing really that's happening, then it's just functioning as is.
Then it's like, you know.
Yeah.
You feel pretty dumb though when that happens. It's happened to me. It's actually happened to me like a couple times where like, dude, you're not even playing right now.
Yeah. Well, there was this knower before, right? You know, this wealth of knowledge and whatever. And then when it's seen that none of that really matters, there's this kind of like, oh wow, I'm a fool. It's just everything is just foolish. right? That because there was this maintenance of a belief system before, and there's usually a root, there's usually a source. I think I talked about this in the meeting. Usually the source of suffering is the belief in a source. Because there's a belief in a source is separation. The belief in consciousness or awareness is separation. A belief in an inner or outer higher being is separation. So when that belief gets knocked out, there's this Neverland. The beliefs are just really empty RPG traits. The RPG usually would have, loyalty, belief system, for, that's what it is. It's just a seeming programming. So when it's seen that everything is just a program, then the game kind of like, then one lets go of the joystick, and everything is just playing by itself. I'm like, oh, wow. And the belief of that character diminishes completely. Boop, 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 boop. It doesn't have a belief anymore. That's the only thing different, really.
Yeah.
It still has loyalty. It still has kindness or cruelness, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But just the belief is gone.
Belief is gone, but the game goes on.
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks, Emerson. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Forrest. Forrest is my imaginary son.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry if I was not able to answer the phone. You know this character now. It doesn't really stay on the phone. Loses the phone.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, so right now I'm in a group book club about translating Andrea's books.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
We're starting to that.
Excellent.
The first chapter already.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
And
how many people are in the translation for Andreas's book?
Currently 5, because only 5
wow.
people in that, it's all Chinese. So only 5 people are really good at English or fluent in English.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Although I don't know Chinese, but that's fascinating.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to translate because Andreas don't talk too much on in one sentence. And it's hard to explain to the audience what he really talking about.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
And yeah.
How many pages have you translated so far?
Oh, I didn't put too much work in it.
Oh, because the last time I talked to you, you said you had 4 hours. You put in 4 hours or something?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Right now, probably 4.5 hours. Because after that, I just re-edit my preface.
Yes.
Yeah. So talking about RPGs, it's like a simulator. It's like a game.
Yeah.
And
but no one programmed it. It's just the game happening by itself, and it's not even happening at all. Yeah.
And last week I was watching another non-duality YouTuber.
Yeah.
Talking. He's an African guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was saying this is death already.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is really the death.
This is death. This is death.
Yeah.
This is death speaking. That's death listening. This is death appearing and not appearing. This is all of this is death.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. He was really good.
Yeah.
He was
like
really
him.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 minutes short clips.
Yeah.
It's like powerful. He's so powerful.
Yeah. He's great. He's great.
Like, yeah. So he was talking about this death, and I'm thinking, because you and Casey were talking about RPG, right? And RPG is probably similar to, like, this is death already.
Yeah.
And there's no people playing it.
Yeah.
In a background.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
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 That's nice.
Someone remixed I'll send it to you. Someone remixed one of my talks into a music video, a music kind of like, with sound. And it's about death. I'll send it to you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went on Telegram. There's like a conspiracy theory group.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
I accidentally pops out open a video about there's someone being tortured. There's people in a jungle in a Asia, Southern Asian, like Thailand or something, in a jungle that will torture people, and to get their to get money out of their body or something. And it was really sad for me to watch it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like that people, if they disobey what they're doing, they'll cut their hand off or something. It's just really sensitive content. But I accidentally click on it, and I was like, what is really suffering is that they think they can get out of it. They can get away with it.
Yeah.
Run away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's sad. So the seeming suffering is avoiding what is apparently happening, right? When there's just this acceptance, although no one's accepting, pain will be pain. Intense pain will be intense pain, but there's no one behind it.
Yeah. But there's still so much pain, and they're using an electric shock, and you're seeing a real knife.
Wow, that's dark.
Yeah.
That's really dark.
I was like,
what are you watching?
Nobody would ever want that to happen to them.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
but
that's brutal.
Also happen in this world. It's like reality. This is
in this apparent reality. Yeah, everything seems to happen completely real. But getting caught up in others, you know what I'm saying, maintains the reality illusion, and it creates it just generates more stories and stories and stories and stories and stories, and more engagement and engagement and engagement until the character thinks that it can do something, when the character really is just powerless. It's nothing.
Yeah. Look, it's like a comic strip that happened to be someone getting tortured.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And if trying to help, you know what I'm saying, that character is also happening, that's also what's happening. I think I'm not sure if I told you this, but in Toronto, I saw a woman kind of like, getting kind of like pushed and punched. Of course, I crossed the street right away, and I'm not tall or anything. I just wanted to go. I'm like, what's going on, right? So there's also this kind of like, even it's not going to kind of like, it's just a comic strip. This is just a story. In the story, there seems to be an engagement and saying, hey, what's up, and calling the police or whatever, and asking the other person if they're okay. Or if walking down the street, if someone is hungry, there's also a feeding of that person. He's not going to say it's just an illusion. So the character doesn't have a choice to do or not do. It could walk past the hungry person, or it could feed. It can say, hey, let's go for a meal.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever done it, but the best meals I have are people that have nothing. In the story anyway. They appreciate
what do you mean?
Like a homeless person, or you know what I'm saying? And the stories are fascinating.
Okay, yeah.
And some of the characters see the clarity of this. Actually, I've encountered a couple of people that sees this as it is.
So you're saying we don't actually have a choice.
No.
To help people
or not
who's homeless, living under the bridge.
Yeah, or not.
Even though there's thoughts.
Yeah, if you look at you're walking down in downtown Toronto, for example, right? There's gonna be there's people will always pass someone that's hungry.
Yeah.
Right. But once in a while, a character will say, you know what I'm saying? You know what? Hey, do you have something to eat, or gives money? It's just random. This character, because I did it before for quite a while when I was a spiritual teacher, it's almost a programming of this character to usually kind of like, when there's a homeless person, to eat with them, because I enjoy it.
That's nice.
Yeah. It just doesn't see others, right? It just sees no separation. And if I'm hungry, I'm like, well, what's best way to have a meal with someone?
Okay.
Yeah.
Even as eating activities similarly appear.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Or having a coffee with, I used to buy in Tim Hortons, they have that big that carafe thing that can have about 30 coffees inside. When it's really, really cold like in Toronto, it's really, really cold. Put on some gloves, put on some winter gear, and have coffee with a whole bunch of people on Spadina in college. It's the best coffee afternoon that you'll ever have. Again, this is not an instruction or whatever. I'm just sharing a story. You know what I'm saying? Because when you see a torture like that, I'm saying that it can go really, really dark and everything, right? But there's also just this, this character that although it can't do anything in the world, there's this happening of having coffee, although it really means nothing. You're not really helping anyone. You're not really feeding anyone. It's just what is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, after watching that video,
or it's the same as walking past them. Yeah. Usually when there's this compassion, you know what I'm saying, and everything, because I was the same, you know what I'm saying. I didn't like the injustice in the world, or the poverty and everything. So this character did its own, although it didn't do anything really in the story. The character, started hanging out with the homeless to hear stories, best stories that you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
And the kindest, it's just a story. The kindness, you know what I'm saying, kind of like characters that you'll meet.
Yeah.
Yes, Jack goes the clearest. Yeah. We should all go one day and just, hang out, in Toronto with Jack, people from Toronto, and just have coffee, walk around when it's really, really cold, when it's like -40. It's so awesome to just have coffee with people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I need to. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And then we'll go dancing after. Did you hear that first? I said we'll go dancing after.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
Okay. Shadi.
You just pretty much covered what I was going to ask, but I just wanted to be, I'm asking this anyway, just because I'm curious. So there's a lot of, people, I'm going to use the word awakened, and they know that this is an illusion and, this is a story, but then they talk about karma, even though they say there's nobody, there's no mind, there's nobody, there's no free will. But then why do they continue with that when they know themselves that everything is just divinely orchestrated or something?
All awakened people that claim that they're awakened are still in the dream. And the belief in karma as separate is just a belief in the dream. So when there's a belief that someone awakened, or they're awakened, that's a dream of separation again. So here, there's no one awakened. Everything is awake. There's no you that's not awakened. There's no here that's awakened. This is the same. It doesn't see any separation. It sees emptiness as itself.
Yes.
Yes.
But why do they say it like that then? If
because
I think that
there's a belief in a dream still. There's still a belief that they're doing something.
Even like the gurus and like that are just like completely, if I feel like they actually have this.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, and I was there with you, Shadi. You know what I'm saying? I believe that they have some special knowledge that I didn't know, that they had some reached a special attainment that I did not attain. But when it's seen that the dreamer, this dreamer, is empty, then everything that it sees is also empty. It also sees, you know, meaning that there are no others. So there's no more comparisons or you know, hierarchies, whatever, because it's equally nothing. So it sees nothing but emptiness. But in the story of emptiness, there is going to be apparent dreamers. You know what I'm saying? In this apparent, this is all emptiness. But in the story, there's going to be some apparent dreamers that thinks that they're real. And it's usually awakened people. Because the moment that they have landed and say that I am awakened, they're stuck in the dream. They have knowing now. That's stuck in a dream. That's stuckness.
So that whole thing, this is now the next question.
Yeah, sure.
That pure bliss consciousness is the only thing there is, and unconditional love.
That's another, you know, illusion statement, right? That's just another, every word can, like what I said, every word is meaningless. So when there is kind of like an attachment to only bliss or only consciousness or only whatever, but they're just words. You can also say that everything is just donuts. Because there's no difference between the word donuts and bliss. Although donuts is bliss. There's no more kind of like seriousness and kind of like, I don't know if you watched my video, that Satchit Ananda one. That used to blind me all the time, right? Because I'm like, you know what? I have to maintain this being, truth, consciousness, whatever, right? Bliss. And I thought that was the source of my suffering. Because my belief in that attainment and the belief that I could lose it, that I lost it, you know, was the flip-flopping, you know, kind of like, oh, I have to do more. I have to, rather than, you know, I have to help more people. I have to maintain, I have to meditate for 6 hours now because I'm in a Satchit Ananda. So it becomes my precious, like, you know, from Lord of the Rings. You become a Gollum.
Because my interpretation of
blind
that
or
was
deluded.
just that it just sees whatever is. It's not necessarily saying it's only beautiful and bliss. It's everything.
Then
but
the word bliss
awareness.
is incorrect then, you know what I'm saying? Because
that's why I was always confused with the word.
Yeah, because it dangles this carrot of something that's, you know, bliss and everything, and then it contradicts itself by saying that it sees everything. That's why I like using words like emptiness, because there's no quality to it, really. You know, when there's
it's like peace, though, the word peace.
I like using the word peace, but I like adding the word unconditional peace or unknowable peace, right? Because the moment that you land again at something, at thinking, then it becomes what your version of peace is. It becomes subjective. You can also say unconditional bliss, but the word bliss is so loaded, right? Because it's almost very what's that word?
Like intoxication of something.
Intoxication of something. It's almost very privileged, specialized, right? That I have bliss and you don't have bliss. Although we'll say that everything is bliss. When I say emptiness, it kind of like almost kind of like it disrupts ideas of specialness. It disrupts ideas of privilege or purity. Only a few can attain it. Isn't that a belief in separation? I am awakened. That's separation. You are not awakened. That's separation. That's a delusion. When the I am starts, it's deluded from the get-go, because the I is the separate. The I is the dream of continuity. So it misses this. The I obscures.
So you could say the I is basically like the ego. Well, in
there's
some
yeah.
writings, it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much
Like
the same.
there's an
Again,
I that's separate from the
they're
I.
just words. Yes, the words are either separates or is whole or complete. If you listen to, you know, up here, there's no others, you know, saying there's, you know, kind of like other teachers, the moment that they are addressing you and putting themselves in a higher perspective, that's separation already. You're listening to something that is delusional, right? Because there's no others. I don't see any difference from here and there. I see a Shadi character, you know what I'm saying? But it's no different from the Emerson character. So there's no one awakened here. There's no one unawakened there. It sees everything as empty. So this empty is appearing as Shadi. Let's just even use it. I'll use the empty divine. I don't like using the word divine. Everything is already empty and divine as it is, without any kind of like hierarchy or specialness or whatever. So kind of like going back to my story of a homeless person, I don't see a homeless person. I see emptiness.
So it's like impersonal, basically.
Yeah.
There's a sense of impersonal.
There's this personal and impersonal at the same time. Yeah. It's not this, it's authentic, right? It's not performative. Performative is when there's an awakened. That's performance. You know, there's no one awakened.
There's no one to awaken, basically.
There's no one to awaken, and everything is perfectly as it is already. This is already empty, radiant stillness, appearing as Shadi. There's not even a Shadi here right now. This is just emptiness in its fullness. Nodding over there, smiling over here. This is all emptiness, whole and complete.
But it feels real because you have, like, there's a body. So when you pinch yourself, like, things feel real.
Of course.
Like when you were saying these people were being electrocuted or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for example,
that moment, that person is going to be like, what the hell's happening? Yeah,
yeah. You want to do something. You want to do something, right? Because there's this apparent, you know what I'm saying, care for others, although there is no others. Kind of like, you know, it. For example, here it just sees nothing but emptiness, but emptiness can appear as someone getting kind of like, you know, downtown Toronto, someone getting punched, like a woman. And then you run to the street and you basically saying, hey, what, you know, you call the police, you know, saying you tried to kind of like, are you okay? So the person hitting, the person being hit, the person reacting and calling the police or trying to stop is all emptiness. There's nothing higher or lower. It's just emptiness in action. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wow, we went over time, but we'll just keep on going. Someone asked me, how long is this meeting? And I looked at the time. Well, it's supposed to be an hour, but since it's almost 90 minutes, it's 90 minutes. Can we see the dog? No, the puppy is not here because usually the puppy likes jumping at lights. So usually everything collapses, you know. And Hi, Emerson. I love the clarity of these meetings. It's so perfectly obvious that there's nothing to be known. My confusion is why are there others that speaks the opposite of what's being again, it's just a maintenance of this reality, right? And there are really no others. There are no really others. There are others that believe that there are others, which means that they're in a dream. There are others that tries to help others by showing them inquiry or something. That's just a dream. Here it's seen that everything is already emptiness. Everything is already perfect as it is. That there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that needs to be corrected because everything is as it is. And that's unconditional freedom. That's the freedom that is being spoken about here. That in the isness of what is, whatever is appearing is already this. And this is what is longed for. And this is always this. And there's nothing outside of this. So in the expression of this, that everything is already completely as it is, in the story, when it finally sinks in that everything is always this, then there is a seeming there's a seeming giving up of trying to figure out what this is. And that seeming giving up, everything just appears as this clarity is just this wow. How is this even possible? And it talks to emptiness. It sees emptiness. It walks in emptiness. It is emptiness. There's nothing separate from emptiness because everything is just seen as an emptiness. And there's this authenticity. It expresses the way it does. There's nothing wrong or right about expressions, and it is what it is. Oh, love you so much too.
Hey, Emerson.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi, Forrest.
So, yeah. So do you think this is death already? Like death?
Yes. And death is just even a word, not even death. So this is the wordless. This is death, and this is also aliveness at the same time. This is everything all at once. But everything all at once is nothing, meaning death. So you are dead, everyone's dead. I am dead.
Yeah.
It's like
Because,
Oprah, I don't know if you've seen that show. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead. Everyone's dead. And that's what's longed for.
Yeah.
That's what is wished for, right? Is that it wants the death of thoughts. It wants the death of the absence, basically, of problems, when it's always absent, meaning death.
Yeah.
Death not as a concept, but death as it is.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this? How do you feel about your afterlife right now?
There's no after and there's no before. This is just life. Yeah.
So
this is the afterlife, and this is life, and this is the before life, appearing all at once.
Yeah. I guess for you, like 10 years ago and right now, there's no difference. Your daily life is still the same.
Well, 10 years ago, there was this, and 10 years ago didn't happen at all. So there was no 10 years ago. It's just a story.
Okay.
It's just a story appearing in this. In this, there's no 10 years ago. Where is it?
Okay, so it feels like
the problem with
you
that
mean,
sometimes is that my memory is so bad now. Like I don't even know stories because everything is just true and untrue, and it just pops in and out, right? And there's forgetfulness. So I don't really remember a lot, you know, and stories changes and everything because it's just all it doesn't see true or false anymore. It's just all stories.
wow.
Yeah.
So if from what I heard from you, what you're saying is feels like you're playing a computer game, and the game the time within the game
it's not
just
real.
Goes really quick, but it's not real.
It's not real. Yeah.
Just like
it's
that.
It just sees that this is just in real time, although there's no real time. There's no more, you know, history. There's no more future. It's just this, right?
Okay.
And in this, and when this is so obvious that there's it's so stunning as well that there's really no room to imagine anything other than this. Because usually the thinking of past or future is trying to think of a better time or a better time in the past or in the future. So it misses this timelessness. So this timelessness is it's so full. It's so empty, but it's so full at the same time. And that, you know, it doesn't really avoid anything. I used to go into fantasy mode when I did like something, you know, for example, if it's thinking about a future vacation, or it just goes into fantasy land. It goes into fantasy programming because it can't seem to handle this. But this is without any stories, without any kind of like, you know, stickiness. Everything just seems to slide.
Yeah, same here. Because last week, my midterm exam came out. It was not a good grade, and I didn't study a lot. And I kind of have a flashback of if I work harder in my high school, you know, actually put in work and study, I will probably go to a better school.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing.
No such thing. Yeah.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like I'm destined to end up being this school, and
it's
destined.
Just this. It's this.
yeah. Because there's no one doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Ilya goes, so the me is like the politicians and banks do nothing but appropriate of everything. Oh, Pedro's here. Hi, Pedro.
Hi, Emerson.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, finally, yeah.
It's a really great meeting. I'm really tired now, so I'm enjoying to listen to everyone. It's a really great meeting. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. How was your whole was it a whole festival? Is it done now?
Yes, it was a festival.
Oh, good. Yeah. We'll chat again soon. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yes, it was for
oh, there you are. Now I can see you.
Yeah.
Hi.
It was for a week, and now still I have some tired in the body, I guess.
I love that when you shared that, you know, when you were Pedro is a flute player in an orchestra, that the orchestra was empty.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I was even remember, I remember this that I tell you, right, about the Mozart symphony, and it was clear that he was had no one in the stage, right?
Yeah.
And in the festival, I remember when the conductor, you know, the conductor was this happened in a rehearsal, and the conductor was really, enjoying, and someone play a wrong note, and then what? Don't you do that? He don't say the word, but it's like saying, I am lost in the music, and you do that, and it was almost like come back, you know, almost like that.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah, I the other night I played some piano, and you know what, when you play music sometimes it's just all of a sudden it's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then your fingers are hurting because there's just no one playing, no one choosing to stop. And it just plays it just plays by itself, and it's really beautiful. Just the music and the silence at the same time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you. We'll chat again soon. Jack goes, can't tell if the past is the future and vice versa, and whether a second is a second of or a billion years or eternity itself. Beautiful, yes. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We went over time, but I hope that's okay. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you a lot.
Emerson. Love you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Love you.
Emerson.
There's a breakout room that's